there might be someone now thinking of, transitioning from a full-time job to a business. What would you say to them? How did you overcome any doubt or fear?
I think one of the things that I used for myself is a lot of business books, reading, hearing a lot of motivational speeches. And I think what that does to you is it programs your mindset to believe that, you know what, I got to do it. So I think one of the biggest advice I would say is this: make the decision. Believe in yourself. Just make a decision and give it a go. Don't overthink it. When you overthink something, you never do it. Just make a decision and just go for it.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Into Property, where we talk about the stories of entrepreneurs, everyday people who are getting involved in property or already in property. But today we have a special guest. Now, this guy loves solving property challenges. I mean, he's known for that. I mean, when it comes to property challenges, he doesn't back down. And I'm talking to a CEO today, an entrepreneur, a property investor, a property dealer, but also a philanthropist as well. Yes, you heard me. Giving back to community, not just doing business, but changing the lives of people. Welcome, Chuks.
Thank you, Moses. I really appreciate you inviting me to your podcast. I've been looking forward to it, so really thank you for this opportunity.
Yes. Yeah. No, thank you for coming to, to join me today. I've been looking forward to having you.
Yeah, I know.
I've been looking forward to having you.
Wow.
And we've had some amazing conversations. And you are someone that a lot of us who are entrepreneurs, yes, we look up to you. You inspire us. You inspire our generation, and because you are a man who wears many hats, a lot of hats. But rather than me talking about you, why don't you tell the audience who is Chuks?
Oh, wow. Okay. Thanks for the opportunity. So my name is Chuks Uwaechia. I'm the CEO of Ken Housing. Ken Housing, the property company based in Kent. We provide accommodation for construction companies coming to Kent, housing associations, NHS, business travelers coming to Kent, rail companies, film companies, you name it. If you want accommodation, they come to Ken Housing. Yeah. Right. And also, as you said earlier on, part of the thing I do what I do is I'm a champion of community. Yeah. So I'm also part of the Gilliam Street Angels, a big charity organization in Kent. That probably, as of last counting, feeds probably about 25,000 people a month, through our food banks, through our campaigns, and helping families. And one of our ethos in that organization is that no child should go to bed hungry in our community. So I'm a big part in that as well. Wow. And obviously, lastly, you can see also I'm also a big boxing fan. You can see the gloves, gloves for Africa.
Yes.
So we also have a foundation in Africa where we provide gloves for a lot of kids in very challenged communities. And the idea of it is what we do, we teach them through sports, discipline, motivation, determination, that if they have a desire, they can achieve something. So one of the ethos, as you can see on the glove, there's impossible does not exist. Yeah. So part of what we do is that they go to, we get them into school as well, But the idea is that we use sports to give them that belief that, whatever they set their mind to, even though their environment may just be not the best place, they can achieve. Yeah. And we've had some phenomenal results. Like I said, we are on the 1 million glove campaign in Africa now. So we've been we've been to Ghana, we've been to Kenya, we're going to Eritrea, we've been to Togo. So Nigeria is the main base anyway. So we're spreading the news, and hopefully we're going to South Africa in the next couple of months.
Wow. That intro alone,
Yeah.
one man.
And a team.
Oh man, I love it.
Yeah.
You know, Chuks, I was drawn to you first of all by watching what you do on LinkedIn. You know, I saw a man who really had a heart for helping people in property, but at the same time really giving back to the community. And one of your title is solving property challenges.
Yes.
You know, and I know you're a CEO, but sometimes you don't really like that title of a CEO. You rather put on a title of I'm a problem solver.
Yeah.
You know, rather than CEO. But let's talk about it, Chuks. You're an entrepreneur. How long have you been in business now?
I've been in business, in the property business. I've been in the property business for about 11 years. But obviously, I've done other things previously before that. I used to be in the .com business. I also started off selling in the market. I've been in business, doing a lot of businesses before I go into property.
Okay.
So that's pretty much what gave me the insight into business. Yeah.
So did you always see yourself getting involved in property? Did you see yourself in that property space?
No.
So what led to you transitioning from the kind of business, the different business that you were running, and then moving into property?
Property was by chance. I got into property. And I tell you how the story went. When the .com crashed, I mean, we all had to go, me and my business partner had to go look for work, you know, and my wife said, oh, why don't you go into housing, get into the housing sector and just get a job in housing? It's probably more secure than what you've done previously. You know, at least you get an income and you're guaranteed. You can pay your mortgage, you know. So I got a job in a local council as the mortgage rescue officer, and the mortgage rescue officers at that time, obviously, we had the recession where a lot of families were losing their homes, and my job was as a mortgage rescue manager was to stop a lot of banks, like I don't know if you remember repossession, like the Northern Rock,
yes.
And you know, so what the government did was they gave a lot of councils money and said, listen, for people who are trying to face repossession, just try and save them. With that money, we will buy into their property so that they can remain in the properties. So obviously, my job was to convince the banks not to repossess the property, and they found out. The guys around me found out I was brilliant at that job at convincing the guys to stop in the repossession. So I stopped a lot of families from becoming homeless, really from repossession. So that gave me an insight into property while I was in there, and I thought, gee, I can do this. Yeah. You know, and I got poached by a big property company, and they got me on board, and that's how my journey started in property. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, saying that now, I know people who have faced repossession. It is not easy. It's a horrible thing. You know, I remember one time there was a lady who she was introduced to me, and she refurbished the property. You know, things that gone on. She has kids, and due to like obviously personal circumstances, she faced repossession, and she called me and I was just rallying round to find an investor who could help. But fortunately, she called a bit too late. And the day I remember she rang me one day and told me, Moses, they've told me to leave and they're outside the house. They're going to change, and they're going to barricade the door. And I just thought, oh man, she, you know, and she just said the feeling, she was crying. So for you to help a lot of people, and I can kind of like see where your passion, where that passion comes from, you know, really, really helping people, you know, solving problems. And I want to talk more on that because as a CEO and entrepreneur, you know, when you were doing that and you were poached to join that company,
yes,
you were doing a great job.
Yes.
Did you have any mental block? Was there any fear in you thinking, okay, I was doing this, but now I've been poached to come join this company?
Yeah.
Was there anything in you that thought, okay, can I really go on with this?
Yeah.
I mean, how did you go through that process?
It was a big challenge because I was in a secure job, yeah, and I was poached by this property company that wanted to start something new, you know, And no one's ever done it.
Yes.
Absolutely no one's ever done it, And they said, Chuks, you've got the insight. You're the guy that can help us make this happen, And but obviously, I'm also a risk taker. I take a lot of risk, And I said, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to make the decision and just do it. And I spoke to my wife and I said, I've got to make this decision. That's my line of work. That's what I'm passionate about. I need to make the move.
Yeah.
And we both agreed that I make the move, and I made the move and went over. And to tell you how successful we were the first company to open the door for a lot of in the Kent space for property, where a lot of housing associations started using us in Kent. A lot of businesses that were relocating within the London space were coming into Kent. So we were the ones that opened the gateway to a lot of other companies that believed that, yes, we can do it as well. So everyone started, But the first 6 months was tough. It was tough to get people coming to Kent, because it's like, why come to Kent, But we opened that door, and it was like a gateway to many, many other businesses coming along into Kent.
Wow.
Yeah.
And, I think something we have to also talk about as well briefly is having a spouse that's supportive of your dreams. Man, it goes a long way.
It does. Massive.
While you were talking about that, what came to mind was also when I told my wife that I was getting involved into property, and I was quitting my full-time job. You're moving from security to taking a big risk. Business is risky, whether people like it or not. Entrepreneurs, we solve problems. But then when you move away, when you transition from that secured environment, but nowadays it's not that secure anymore though, because people are getting redundant nowadays. So but just moving away into that, but having somebody who can tell you, you know what, I believe in you,
yes,
go ahead, we'll be okay. So I just want to say shout out to your wife.
Big shout out to my wife,
shout out to her.
Yeah,
shout out to her.
A great job.
You know what I mean? Very, very supportive, which is fantastic.
Massive.
So now that you've now come into this business, and you said obviously the first 6 months was challenging, that is something that sometimes people overlook when you're starting a business, because now you have to get the clients. You have to do so much. There's a lot you have to do to keep things moving. And when you work in a full-time job, whether you put in 100%, you put in 5% or 10%, you get paid.
That's right.
It's just a fact.
Yeah.
Business, if you don't hunt, if you don't go out, if you don't get out there to hunt,
you don't get paid.
You don't get paid. So for those watching right now, those listening, there might be someone now thinking of, transitioning from a full-time job to a business. What would you say to them? How did you overcome any doubt or fear on the inside of you, venturing into entrepreneurship to say, you know what, I can do this? So just briefly, how did you overcome, because you were going into the unknown.
Yes.
So how did you overcome that fear of the unknown?
I think one of the things that I used for myself is that you've read the Nike logo, just do it.
Just do it, yes.
Just do
Amazing
it, yeah.
book.
So it's. I mean, the book is fantastic.
Amazing book.
Absolutely. I think what's it called? Shoemaker.
Yes.
Shoemaker.
Yes.
Yeah. Just do it. And for me, is reading a lot of these books, a lot of business books, reading, hearing a lot of motivational speeches, And I think what that does to you is it programs your mindset to believe that, you know what, I got to do it. I've just got to do it, because you've heard so much of it, So I think one of the biggest advice I would say is this: make the decision. Believe in yourself. Believe. I mean, I'm a God-fearing man. I ask God, help me.
Yes.
Really help me with this, And just give it a go. Just make a decision and give it a go. Don't overthink it. When you overthink something, you never do it. Just make a decision and just go for it. That's the way I always believe. But I can always honestly tell you that the first 2, the first 3, the first 4, it could be the first 5, could be the toughest 5. Yeah. So you've just planted a seed. It's not going to happen quick. Yeah. So a lot of people you see on the internet showing you stuff on Instagram, showing you all this lovely, oh, look at me here, look at me there.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just rubbish. Yeah. The real act is the ability to wait. You got to wait. You've planted the seed and you've got to wait. Yeah. And when the fruit grows, once the tree grows, it bears fruit. Yeah.
Wow.
With everything you do in life, yeah, is consistency, patience, and the ability to just believe. You've got to have that. If you don't have that, then there's no point.
Wow. You've just touched on a few things there. And I love that line. The ability to wait.
Yeah.
That is so important, because with social media now, if you think about it, 20 years ago, that we didn't have all this stuff. But now you could be watching something on social media and you see an ad.
Yeah.
You want to be wealthy in 12 months.
Yeah.
There's all these 12 months, my clients are making this money. And no, I'm not doubting those guys. They could be doing it, which is fantastic. But sometimes selling dreams, but not selling the reality, because business is work. But I love what you said, believing in yourself. And yes, I'm a God-fearing man as well. And that line you just mentioned as well, God help me, is one of my confessions. I said it every single day. I'm big on words. I'm
massive.
on words. And I'm always saying, help me with this, because that's my father. So I'm always going back to him as a businessman, as an entrepreneur. So the way I see it, and something I've said to some of my, I've said to my family, and I tell my kids this. My kids are quite young, but I tell them, I said, Daddy is the CEO of Announced Property, but God is the boss of Daddy. So when I need help, I go to the boss.
Yeah.
Because at work, if there's any problem, you go to the manager.
Oh, totally.
You go to the manager. So you go to the manager, but for me, I always go to him. So I love the fact that you shared that that part of yourself to people, to tell them you got to believe in yourself, have a bit of faith, and just do it. But also the ability to wait.
Yes.
You mentioned something about it could be 1 year, 2 year, 5 years. Now, most businesses don't even last a year.
No.
They don't.
No.
I mean, I found that, I knew about that when I started business, that not all businesses see 6 months, 1 year. And most businesses fail in the first 5 years. How did you break through that?
That's a very good point. For me, in this transition of even 5 years, there was a time within the 5 years that I had like 4 or 5 people working in the business, and at that stage, it was a challenge. It was still a challenge. I actually had to leave the business because there were two ways. Either I got rid of the 5 people, or I went away and did something somewhere and come back. Wow. Yeah? But I kept those 5 people in there because I knew they had mortgages, they had rent to pay, they had to feed their families, But I went away and I picked up a part-time job. And I was driving the Tesco delivery vans.
Wow.
In the evenings.
So wait, let me pause you right there. Let me pause you right there.
Yeah.
You're a CEO of a company.
Yeah.
So you noticed there were some challenges in the business. This is from my year 5. And you decided to kind of like put your ego on the side, or your pride on the side.
Yeah.
And as a CEO, you were thinking about the families of the people working for you.
Yes.
And rather than you take the big check and get rid of them, you decided to step down a little bit, find a job as a Tesco delivery driver.
That's right.
A CEO. Tesco, did you know that a CEO was driving one of your vans?
I still got the card, the ID badge.
What?
So every time I look at it and I say, wow.
How many entrepreneurs and CEOs can boldly state this? That during the tough time.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we're having this conversation, because sometimes we just see the glam.
Yes.
The accolades. I mean, when we're talking about accolades, we're going to come to that, because boy, you've got the accolades, you've got the awards. We even won an award in the same night.
Together. Yeah, we got an award together.
That, I mean, if you're watching this, I'm sure you're inspired by that, because this is you being vulnerable right now.
Yeah.
This is you telling your personal story, because sometimes people hide behind those things, and and I can relate to you. Sometimes it's tough.
It's very tough.
It's tough.
I mean, it was very tough. I mean, you can imagine me employing people. Then I had to go into Tesco, pick up the van, went around the area, and I lived in the area, dropping bags, full of shopping bags, left, right, and center. So you can imagine your ego. I had to drop the ego, But I said, you know what? The best thing that happened for me was even actually going to Tesco, and I'll tell you why. Because while I was at Tesco's, I was looking around. When I go into the warehouse, I was looking at systems. I was seeing how Tesco operated. I was listening to how, I don't know if you know, the biggest buyers from Tesco's are women. Yes, Tesco, there's a method they use, even the delivery drivers. You're given a system of how, when you meet the client, what you need to do, what you need to say, and I saw so much systems. I go in there, I saw targets, I saw boards of targets, I saw how the HR worked, I saw how the admin worked, and I thought, damn, this is the best thing that has happened to me, because never had that. Systems. So I took all of that. I was like a student. It was like going to Harvard for me.
Yeah.
I was there looking at how everything worked, and I was absorbing it. And I took a lot of that stuff away. And I thought, I'm going to go implement all of this stuff.
Nice.
So for me, it was the best experience. I looked at it as the best experience for me.
Wow. A good student is one who is like a sponge.
Massive.
They're able to just soak and absorb information and then apply it. Just apply it.
Yeah.
And you turned, I don't want to call it a negative situation, but you turned a challenge into opportunity.
Massive.
So rather than think, I'm a CEO and I'm doing deliveries, rather you thought, this is a thriving business.
Yes.
These are the big boys.
Yes.
What can I do
to
learn from these big boys and bring it back to my business?
Yeah.
My goodness me.
Yeah.
Wow. That is just
that was a crisis to an opportunity, to a learning opportunity.
Honestly, that is amazing. And now you've implemented this into your business. So what happened after that?
What happened after
come
that?
back?
Yes, I came back. I came back and I implemented everything that I learned from Tesco's, and and we grew the business. The business grew, and for me, like I said, it was the best opportunity, the best thing that happened, and we grew as a business, and like I always tell people, in life, there's always a phase. There's a tough phase. It goes like up and down. So in everything we do, you can never be on top. There's sometimes you fall flat. You pick yourself up, you move up again. So you have that circle, but you have to look at it and say, what am I going to learn from this circle, so that what happened then would not happen again. Do you understand? But we always have a circle. Nothing is continuously upwards.
Correct.
So for me, it was a fantastic learn. We improved. The business improved. People's relationship improved, HR improved, systems of how we deal with our clients improved, the way we operated in the business improved. So it was a big plus for us in Kent Housing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so fantastic. I want to touch on something. Kent Housing, you guys work with, a lot, you do a lot of temporary accommodation.
Yes.
What is one major challenge you're still facing right now in that temporary accommodation space? And what are you guys doing to kind of like help in solving those challenges?
Okay. The biggest challenge in temporary accommodation, most people know when they say temporary accommodation, they say, oh no, what a horrible place, what a nasty place. They go in there, you see all the walls soaked, you see rats moving left, right, and center. They put people in nasty places. That's what people
So-
know temporary accommodation
So
as.
let's go back a little bit. So obviously, because there might be someone watching right now who doesn't really understand how temporary accommodation works. So are these people coming from the council?
They're coming from local authorities, yes.
So coming from local authorities.
Yes.
So these are people in the community.
Yes.
Who they might be going through one or two things.
Yes, repossession.
And
yeah.
they need to be housed.
They need to be housed, yeah.
So the local authority places them in this temporary accommodation. Hence
Yes.
the word temporary accommodation,
yes.
just for a season.
Yes.
Just for a time, and the local authority pay you guys to house them.
Yes.
But then you don't even know who's coming to the property.
No, we don't.
A lot of the time.
No.
So, as an investor and landlord, we have to, my team, the management team, have to vet the tenants.
People come in.
For you guys, there's no vetting.
There's no vetting, no.
So the local authority is like your main tenant.
Yes.
But then they feed you people. They can
Yes.
feed you a family. They can feed you a person. You don't know who's coming. All you got to do
Yes.
is have that property ready.
That's
So
it.
you could have a property that's nice, and
it's
someone can go in
destroyed.
there
It's
and
trashed.
just trash it up.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So tell us then, how do you manage that?
I think one of the things that I always tell a lot of people is that, Moses, you're a property investor, you would know this, is never have your emotions attached to a property. Yeah, a property is a vehicle. Yeah, it's supposed to make you an income. Yeah, it's not, never attach your feelings to it. Yeah, and you see, when you have novice investors that buy properties, yeah, they buy a property, they say, oh, it's going to be nice, it's going to be the same like the house I live in, it's going to be lovely, or little, everything's nice. But I always tell investors, yeah, and an investor who's been in the game for a while, yeah, always knows that we never attach our feelings to a house. Yeah, a property is a vehicle to make a return.
Yeah.
When you can distract your feelings away from a property, yeah, then I think that's when you become a proper investor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, I do get the odd investor that tells me, oh no, I don't want to deal with this. It's too much hassle. But I say, you know what? You're probably not for us. Yeah. But for us as a business, the property is the vehicle. Yeah. We can turn properties around so quickly. I mean, yeah, the property gets damaged here and there. Yeah, we turn it around quite quickly because we've got the team. We've got a big team that would turn it around. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the key lesson I always tell people, never attach your emotions to a property. It's an investment vehicle. That's what you got to think about.
Emotional resilience.
Emotional resilience.
Because I had an investor some time ago,
Yeah.
and they wanted a property. It was their first investment property, and I got him a brilliant property. I mean, it was actually in the Kent area.
Yes.
Got there, got a survey involved and things like that, and I could tell they were still thinking, "This is my house."
Yes.
And I'm just like, I'm you know me, I am big on good homes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of my ethos. Like, it has to be, it has to be safe.
Yes.
It has
Somewhere
to be
you can leave.
somewhere you can leave, but there's no emotional attachment to it. Like I said, it's a business.
Yes.
So imagine, I just thought about something right now. Imagine Uber, the company. If they focus on every time someone gets in the Uber, they're not happy that the Uber driver went to so many bumps.
They're not going to survive.
They're not going to survive. They're not going to survive.
No.
They said that they are thinking, let's just solve. They wanted to solve problems for people. So that investor decided, they were not going. It was a great deal. We got a surveyor involved, and they were just looking at this, and the builder I got involved was like, "Are you telling me this guy's not buying this?" I said, "Yeah," and I just thought, emotion. So now we've spoken about this, and you're getting people involved in this property. You've had. I mean, I know you've had some horror stories.
Oh, massive horror stories.
So
Yeah.
can you share a horror story that every time you think about, you're thinking,
Oh, gee.
wow. Like, I'm sure if someone else was to experience that,
Yes.
that could probably make them think, that's it, I'm out of this game.
Yeah. Okay, but I mean, the most terrible one I would say is that we go into a house. We got a chap into a house, and we came back probably about two to 3 weeks after he burnt the house.
Sorry. Let me sit down properly, man. I got to sit for this one.
Yeah.
Let me just sit for this one. So you got a property,
Yeah.
and 2 to 3 years later.
Yes.
This is temporary. So this is someone from the local authority.
Yeah.
Just did they move in by themselves?
They moved in. Yes, they moved in themselves. Yes.
And they burnt the house.
They burnt the house. Yeah.
How did you deal with that?
Yeah. Tough.
Man,
absolutely tough.
And you still look like there's no grey hair.
It's part of the game. It's part of the game.
How did you deal with it?
For me, obviously, it's the shock. You get the shock, the big shock. Oh, damn, this happened.
Yeah.
But the question I always ask, how are you going to deal with this now? What are you going to do to solve this? Yeah. And that's what I asked myself. What are we going to do to solve it? Yeah. The damage is done. How are we going to solve this? But luckily for us, yes, it burnt, but it was, he didn't burn, the fire luckily did not get to the roof and burnt the roof.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes,
it burnt the inside of the house.
Yes.
So it required our maintenance team going in there and gutting the place really and fixing it. The key thing I always say again, it's all about the emotional thing. If I was so attached to that house, I probably would think, I've got to get out of this business. This is not what I should be doing. Do you understand? I will cry my eyes all day. Do you know what I mean? But what I learned is that, again, it's the same thing. You cannot attach your emotions to our property. What's next? What have I got to do? How have I got to solve this problem? Yeah, at least there's no one dead in the house. Do you know what I mean? It's only a house.
Yeah.
It's brick and mortar. It can be brought back.
Yeah.
And that's the mentality I always believe as a property investor you've got to have.
Yeah. And I'm sure the person was okay.
Yeah, disappeared. We couldn't find him. So that was end of story for him. We couldn't find him. So
oh wow,
yeah,
that should be on the checklist.
Yeah,
have you ever burnt a house before? Are you a house burner?
Yeah, some questions they've got to ask. They ask
honestly,
people that. Yeah,
because obviously, I can imagine how did the landlord take it?
Yeah.
Because how did you manage that?
We obviously sorted it out from our side.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got a team that goes in there and pretty much, we gutted the place. We told the great thing is that the investor is quite a very close friend of mine, So we went in there and we pretty much got my team in there, cleared the house, got the house all sorted back, and we went back again.
Nice.
Yeah, because you see, the thing is that a lot of times, good investors have the same mindset.
Yeah,
they always think that it's a business. It's not. Yeah, businesses will have hiccups. Yeah, and that's part of the hiccup. Yeah. Only last week, a friend of mine called me and said, "Chuks, my house is just they've just found a ton of. I went there and it was a heave of weed, a weed growing factory in there."
What is this an investment property?
An investment property, a weed growing factory in the house.
Wow.
They had cut the power. It was through the power company that he got notified.
Yeah.
And he will have to pay about £5,000
to fix it.
To fix that, he has to pay the electric company for cutting the power off. So.
What do you do?
Do
you walk away?
Do you walk away? Do you know what I mean? So these are a lot of the challenges. A lot of people don't tell you in property.
Yeah.
They don't tell. They tell you all the sweet side. Oh, it's lovely. Oh, you can earn a lovely income. You can do this. You can do that.
Yeah.
But they don't tell you the dark side of it.
There is a dark side to it, and just
course.
like there's a dark side to everything, and I always look at it this way: if there's a problem, there's a solution.
There's a solution.
Like literally, we live in a world where we are surrounded with problems.
Yes.
The reason why we are entrepreneurs is because we solve problems. And, I want to talk about you because you also now, obviously you've got the business is doing quite well. You're helping the community. But now we started talking and you were looking into more investment. I wanted to talk about your story because this, it's the resilience sometimes I see in you is just incredible, and that's hence the reason why we started boxing.
Boxing,
yeah, I got you into boxing now. You got me into boxing. I was like, come on, like yes.
Your first day in a boxing.
Yes, my wife did ask me though. She said to me, "Is Chuks taking you to the ring?" I was like,
Yeah, well, you performed. You performed.
I was like, come on, man,
Yeah.
I can see Moses announce property, you know. And she's like, you're not going to the ring. I was like, yes, ma'am. You know, so let's talk about your investment journey. So I remember we were in the process of getting your property.
Yes.
You know, and you know, it was just incredible. You knew who the landlord was as well. But obviously, when there's a lender involved, that sometimes can just, you know, it can take a while. It can take, you know, it can take a different turn. You know, how did you find that process? Because you came to me and you wanted the service. You found out this is what I do for my investors. But you were already in property.
Yes.
What was the need for my service? Why did you choose to use my service, and what was the challenge you went through, and how did you overcome them?
Okay, I think one of the things I was speaking to you, I mean, I think when I got to know you of what you do, I mean, when I used to see you on LinkedIn, I saw you helping a lot of families, a lot of people, you know, buying properties, you know, and I saw the personal touch. I saw that thing of, you know what, I can help you out. I can solve this challenge for you. Do you know what I mean? You know, because if you go to the usual estate agent, yeah, they just see you as a number. You are a number. They do the deal. See you later. Bye. Yeah. But I saw you that consistent, you know, help. That consistent. I can pick up the phone. I can call you, and I think that's how I got to pretty much know you. You know, I picked up the phone, called you. You know, there was a deal that we were supposed to close in the Kent town. You know, you came there, you showed me, you literally did everything. You even brought the landlord on board. You know, you were close to getting it, you know, and for some reason it just fell through, you know. I mean, I thought, oh, Moses is probably going to say, oh, Chuks, I'm not going to be your mate again. I'm just going to walk away and go. You know, but you gave me that, you know, you instead said, you know what, Chuks, don't let that deal that's fallen through stop you. That's what you told me. You said, Chuks, make sure you make it happen. You know, and to me, I looked at it and I said, I got to make it happen. And I looked for another deal. I was working, and you now said, listen, Chuks, you need to do this. You need to do this. You need to get this done, you know.
And there was a timeline as well.
And exactly, you know. And I think the motivation, the drive, you know, and sometimes you need to hear that. You need to have someone behind you telling you, you can do this. You need to achieve this, you know. And we're lucky that, blessed, I'll call it, you know, that we're able to seal the deal in February, you know. So for me, I just saw you as that type of person, as, you know, it was a personal touch, you know, that ability to help someone, to close someone, to motivate, because you need motivation.
You do.
You know, you can sit tight and do nothing, you know, but you want someone calling you and saying, Chuks, have you done this? Have you done that? You know, and just kick your ass, you know, and make you want to get something done, you know. So, like I said, when we sealed the deal, you know, you're the guy that I called and said, man, Moses, we've done this deal. Do you know what I mean? I was like, yeah.
It was so exciting.
Yeah, I was excited.
I was buzzing.
Oh, no, absolutely excited. Absolutely excited, you know. So
that's good.
That's the way we operate,
oh,
you know.
Nice. No, I mean, I was so excited for you, and there's so much more to do as well. And, you know, and I think that's where you have to, you know, get back up.
Yeah.
And what just came to my mind right now is one of my favorite motivational speaker, Les Brown. I love quoting Les Brown. Yeah. Les Brown said, if you fall back and you're back, if you can look up, you can get up.
Yep.
It's not over until I win.
Yes.
It's not over until I win. And yes, it fell back, but it was kind of like, Chuks, hey, don't stay there. You're a boxer. When you said to me you've been boxing for 30 years, I was like, no wonder, man. I was like, what? You know, but it was just that, you know, hey, come on, let's don't fall,
you get up.
Before you get up, because you've gone through so many challenges in business in all these years. But I loved how you were able to just pick yourself up. There was no emotional attachment to things. It was like, okay, you know what? let's go. And I was saying to you, before the end of this month,
Yes.
before the end of this specific month, you got to get something.
Yes.
And then randomly I'll just ring you and say, Chuks, what we doing? It's like,
yeah.
And I think when you called me and say, yo, man, I've got something now, and we got it, man,
it's
felt
a nice
good.
feeling.
It was such an amazing
But
feeling.
Moses, one of the things I would say is that obviously, I mean, in life, we all need coaches. We all need people that coach. Yeah. I mean, like now I've got a sales coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like now you're like my property coach, you know.
Yeah.
We all need people who can guide us. The best teams, the Manchester United of previous, you know, they had Alex Ferguson.
Yes.
They had, you know, everyone needs a top coach to guide them through. Do you understand? You know, we can't do it all on our own. Do you understand? You know, and sometimes you need a coach who is an expert in that field, which you are. You know, you're an expert in guiding people, in motivating people, in getting people to cross that line. Do you know what I mean? And we need that, you know, in everything. And that's one of the greatest advice I always tell people. You need a mentor. A mentor is number one. Once you have a mentor, half of your job is done.
But you know, some people don't, I could be wrong, but I think sometimes people think a mentor is not that important. I'm where I'm right now because of mentors in my life. And I still have mentors till today.
Yes.
You know, there are people who I've sought for their mentorship, and my goodness, man, I've had mentors take my business from here
to another level.
Do you know what I mean? I've had mentors open my eyes to things like, wow, you could do this, you know. And you're right, but there are times where people just think, well, why do I need a mentor? Why do I need to pay for this? And I think that's where people sometimes don't see value in mentorship.
Oh yes,
I think there's big value. Now you have to really do your due diligence on whoever you get mentorship from, you know, and that's why for me I like to put that personal touch and really see what challenges are you facing and how do I get you to cross over that challenge. And I think for me it was also humbling for someone of your caliber to sit and say, you know what, this is your field, you know, I'm gonna listen.
Yes,
because I work with different types of clients. I mean, I work with clients. I don't even want to go into some of the clients.
Yeah,
you know the kind of clients.
Yeah,
I
know.
And sometimes
it's hard
because they're so high up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They're so high up. These are people. Some of my clients, they command an army.
Yeah,
if you know what I'm trying to say. They in their field they are so big.
Big, yeah.
But to try and but you were able to just put your kind of like, okay, I'm gonna put my expertise on the side, totally. And we had you paid for consultation, you paid for service, and you used to say, you know what, I want to learn.
Yeah,
let's do this.
But you know, the greatest thing that I always tell everyone, is humility. Is the greatest skill you can ever get. Humility. When you are humble, and when people give you corrections, and you listen, it opens many other doors for you. And the challenge with a lot of us entrepreneurs is that because we're usually the boss, we think we know everything. We think nobody should tell us what we know. And sometimes it's a very difficult thing to accept. And that's why for me sometimes I also like people to criticize, to call me, to critique me and say, Chuks, you know what you're doing is, I don't like it. I think you could do it this other way. I like being criticized, because when I get criticized, I go away, and think,
reflect, and
I go and reflect. And that's the fear, is that a lot of people just think I'm brilliant. This is all I do. Do you understand? I don't need any advice, and that's the worst nightmare. You need that ability for people to criticize you, to critique you, more like, let me use the word critique, and say, what you're doing is not right. You can do it this other way, and it's the best way, it's the best thing for growth. Be humble, listen, and take correction.
Wow, that is so pop, man. Chuks, man. Every time I speak to you, oh man, every time I speak to you, there's so much to learn. And I think, for me, some of the things you do, our conversations, it's so motivational. I want you to talk to us about Gloves for, while we wrap up. Just talk to us about, what is Gloves for Africa?
Gloves for Africa is an initiative that I started over 2 years ago, what we saw, I mean, I saw someone sent me a video. I'm a big boxing fan, as you know. I've been doing boxing for about 30 years, and someone sent me a video, and 5 little kids in Lagos, in Nigeria, boxing on the streets, and I saw the skills of this kid, bam, 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 I'm thinking, damn, this is brilliant, never. And I took the video to my coach here. I mean, my coach has been in boxing for 40, I said, Coach, look at this video. He said, wow, Chuks, look at his skills. This guy's got skills. And they were boxing on concrete, old tatty gloves, very old tatty gloves. But bam, 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 And I said, Coach, can we send them some gloves? Coach gathered, said, okay, let's gather some gloves. We gathered 5 pairs of gloves, sent them to this club in Nigeria, in Lagos, This guy brought some videos, and, they were so excited, gloves, and they were showing the skills. And I said, Coach, look at that. And we were so amazed. I go back to the coach. Coach said, why don't you call this Gloves for Africa? I said, wow, okay, that's a good idea. Gloves for Africa. Let's do something with this. And as an entrepreneur, I always see, when I see a challenge, I want to solve it. Yeah. And I saw, you know what? I got to solve this. I've got to help these kids. I've got to do something, And we started Gloves for Africa 2 years ago. We set up a challenge that we're going to send 10,000 gloves, Everybody thought, how are you going to do that? You're crazy, And I said, we are going to do 10,000 gloves, And we started the process, and it just went crazy. People were bringing gloves, boxing clubs, on social media. People were tagging us, calling us here and there. And I mean, even world champions like Nigel Benn, Lennox Lewis, they've given us signed gloves as well, and we're shipping all of this up to Africa. So Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, going to South Africa, and we achieved the 10,000 gloves.
Wow.
And the next challenge was, someone said, why don't you do 1 million gloves? I said, wow, that's a big challenge. That's a massive challenge. And I like challenges like that, And for us, as the gloves, so we started up the 1 million gloves. We've not achieved 1 million yet, but we're in the process. We're still doing that. But the key thing that we found was that boxing is a way to change lives. I've been in this game for long, and boxing has helped me in my business, because boxing has taught me dedication, discipline, will to win. When you fall, you get up, you push yourself, you're hungry, and a lot of these kids in these places, I mean, like very challenged areas in Africa, need that help. To say, you know what, yes, my environment may not be the right place for me to be, but if I'm disciplined, if I love this game, I can go to school. If I apply the same thing in school, I can succeed. I can do things for myself. So it's honestly, it's been one of the most successful venture foundation I've ever done.
Wow.
Amazing. So I'm
Chuks,
buzzing. Absolutely
thank
buzzing.
you so much. Honestly, thank you so much for joining us. And we're gonna put the links in the show notes of how people can support, Gloves for Africa. Thank you so much. And this has been an amazing conversation with you. And again, thank you so much for just sharing your heart with me today. And I hope you've been inspired. I mean, you've heard from a CEO, he's a problem solver, a property dealer. This guy wears many hats. But one thing I admire about Chuks is that as an entrepreneur, he's solving business, he's solving problems, but he's also helping change the lives of people around the world. So until next time, remember, impossible doesn't exist.
Thank you.
See you guys later.
Absolutely awesome. Thank you.